So, yeah. So for the record, we just started recording, calling the meeting in order at 1300 hours here, so 1 p.m. Members present, Shelley Hennessy, Henry Highmuller, Rob Anderson, and Bruce Holsey. Staff?
Staff, that's Mike Fletcher, Nikki Nichols, Danelle Hooper, Mary Jo Beck, Mark Levine.
All right, and still 3 people attending virtually, and we have audience and audience members present. So we'll go ahead and start with public comment. If there's any public comment, public comment is limited to 3 minutes each. Great.
Yeah, so tomorrow, I did contact everybody that has a public email address. One of those people was Jeremy, who I believe has now resigned. But I don't know why you all don't have public email addresses on your website, you should. But I will be talking in a 2-hour show about the 911 levy. So I don't know if anyone here wants to come and talk about that, but we'll be at Kohai Studios tomorrow from 9 to 11, so you're welcome to attend. I emailed Shelley and Jeremy, who are the only 2 that have email addresses. And so I hope that you will come and discuss it, and we'll talk about your levy. Thanks.
Thank you. We will definitely look into the emails are present or not.
Did you guys get name and address for the record?
Did not, Brady, if you don't mind, just for name, address and name, sorry.
Brady Preon, PO Box 761, St. Helens, Oregon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brady.
Any other members of the public?
Pardon?
Oh, any other members of the public?
I'm just here visiting and want to get involved with public stuff. I'm retired now, so
Okay.
came here to listen.
Members online, anyone putting up a hand?
Nope.
We got Pacific Office Automation here. Worked with you guys on copiers and now since on the phone. We're happy to attend.
This
Thank
is
you.
our vendor.
Okay. That was Mr. Peterkin that just gave me a call. So if you can maybe reach out to see if he's just having, he doesn't have the link. The agenda, any additions to the agenda? I think is heard from Brady here earlier that zone member 2, Jeremy Hazenkamp has tendered his resignation, and so under new business, we will discuss the board vacancy. Moving on, the minutes of February 22nd, 2024. Unfortunately, we did not have a March meeting due to lack of a quorum.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve those minutes as presented.
I hear a second.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Financial reports. We have 2 months worth to go through.
We do. Does anyone have any questions on either one, February or March? I did notice, just going through the documents myself before the meeting. We had talked at one of our previous meetings about on the check register voids. The word voided showing up on the line item if there was no dollar amount. I'm still having some issues trying to get that to happen. So I'm gonna figure out a better way so you guys still get the information that you need and want to. And I'm not sure what that looks like at this point yet. If I include the voided document with this report, I think might be the best way to go about doing it. Because I cannot get it to show up on here, that word, once I voided it and then print this out.
I was gonna ask you about check 1071, that
There's a few of them.
CenturyLink one that was, it just said wrong amount, so.
Yeah, I was doing AP and Rob was checking me and I had made a mistake, so I had voided that one out. And that's what that one is. There's a few of them in here, though. Any other questions on the financial reports?
Is there a motion on the budget variance?
Do you want to do those in one for both months, or do you want to do them all individually?
Your pleasure.
Well, I would suggest brevity. So with that, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the budget variance reports for both February and March as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the budget variance reports for both February and March. Any discussion? Gary asked a question earlier, Henry. Anyone else have any questions for Nikki? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Expenditures.
It's a little difficult to do this kind of in one because switching back and forth to screens, so I would move that we approve the expenditures for February from transaction number 915. With you. Transaction number 1084. Inclusive in the amount of $333,721.06.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the check register as presented. Discussion.
February.
Yes, for February. Okay. No questions.
No questions.
Right, well, hearing that again, motion was to approve the check register from transactions 915 through 1084 to include electronic transfers and payments for a grand total of $333,721.06.
620.
620.
Well, I was on the one that wrote that. Is there a
Oh,
the
for February.
Maybe so, it says.
yes, yeah, so it's maybe you're gonna have to clarify that.
What was the question?
Well, one of these lines, this expense fund one shows 333,621.06. And this one says 333,721.06.
Because we have the equipment reserve fund, $100 between the two.
Yes.
Added
Okay.
together?
My correction.
Yeah.
I said the wrong number to begin with. You said the correct one.
So
So
Amend
we
your
need the
motion.
motion
Amend your
would be for
motion.
333,721.06. I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? February. March.
Yeah, let me try this again and see if I do it online. I move that we approve the check register from transaction 1024 with through 1144 inclusive for a total number of $298,416.52.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
Get used to these forms.
Hearing none, the motion was for approve the check register for March expenditures from 1024 through 1144, including electronics payments and transfers for a grand total of $298,416.52. Correct?
Yep.
Right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Reports that we have. We have the appointment of the budget members for zone 2.
With that, we don't have one. No one was ever provided to the district, so that remains vacant.
We currently have a zone 2 vacancy, which is for Rainier, correct?
It's for Global
Global
Rainier.
Rainier.
I know that those are typically appointed by, the board member from that zone. Would that be something that the board could? Well, I mean, it's a little late now, trying to find somebody for today, obviously, but, I wonder if we could reach out to someone.
In the community.
Yeah, or we'd have to have a special meeting then to make an appointment, so that might, from a timing standpoint, never work out. Between now and our next budget meeting.
Correct, but certainly try that. We can check with legal to make sure that that's appropriate, but seems to be.
The question if we, I mean, hate to not have any representation on the budget from that zone,
Correct.
just because it didn't.
Henry, I can speak to that.
Good, Michael?
Yes. Good afternoon, members of the board. To Henry's question, I have done the research and prepared a memorandum on the procedure to replace a resigning board member.
Peter, if I can just real quick for you, this is about a vacant budget committee
Oh, excuse me.
member.
I didn't hear that correctly.
Yes. So we're gonna talk about the board here and under new business.
Perfect. Thank you.
So if I do recall, so we do want staff to try to actively
Yep, we can do that.
try to recruit, reach out to the community, see if we can find someone who is interested. Because even if they are not formally appointed on the committee due to having a special meeting, it'd be nice at least to make sure, like you said, there's some representation.
Okay, on it.
Operations manager report. Yeah,
Yeah, I combined the last month's and this month's. We had one communication specialist, Gibson Coy. He resigned. He worked here for 6 years and we really enjoyed his time here. He got to work for a neighboring PSAP and we wish him the very best. We did open hiring on April 1st for entry level and it's open through May 15th. We are receiving good interest in incoming applications. We have 2 new entry levels scheduled to start. They've completed the process, one on May 20th and one on July 8th. And we remain hiring ongoing all the time for laterals. Lauren, one of our communication training officers, that's also our CPR instructor, which is very beneficial having an in-house CPR instructor for our staff. Took on her first full-time entry level training and she's doing an excellent job setting a really professional standard and she's doing great work. Madison, her trainee, is showing good retention and progressing really quickly. 2 of our staff, Rich and Jennifer, participated in the recent Columbia County Career Fair at PCC, the OMIC Training Center, and thought that it was a very good use of their time and it's nice to be involved in that. This last week, we finished celebrating National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week, and all staff have appreciated the various forms of recognition and outreach of support during the week. Quite a few people reached out from from the community, from vendors, from various user groups, and it was really nice. We are continuing to work on Power DMS. I was hoping to have that launch live April or May. It's looking more like May, which there's just lots of work to do and we've been very busy. The APCO Western Regional Conference for 2024 in Boise, Idaho is this next month in May. Myself and two of our staff are going to go. It's of interest, especially to us this year, because Oregon is hosting the Western Regional Conference next year in 2025 in Portland. And so we have an opportunity to send even more staff. Usually there's volunteer opportunities and then they can get free or discounted tuition and benefits. So we'll be looking at that. We did hire and promote 3 lead dispatchers that have come roaring out of the gate and are very proactive and busy and learning and really fitting into their new roles and added responsibilities. And I'm very pleased with how that's going. And in my previous report for the meeting that got canceled, I was going to talk about the Stewart Consulting Group in the School of Leadership, but that's also in Mike's report. And I think that he has a little bit more detail to share on that. Are there any questions for me?
On to the technical manager report.
Are you, Mike, or shall I? Go ahead and step up and say what's been going on the tech side.
Absolutely.
Months.
So this is per Nathan Hughes. Nathan, of course, not able to make the meeting today. We've got ad updates. Police and fire users have started testing a new configuration for their mobile data terminals, their MDTs. It's a new interface, works very similar to the previous one, but with some significant usability improvements, and conversation is continuing with Central Square on that point. We are receiving good feedback from the testers and will hopefully start rolling out in the next coming months. The Columbia 911 website was migrated to the updated hosting platform. We are still working with the vendor on that website and some remaining issues there. We actually have working around the building right now, some specialists some pest control specialists to prevent small creatures from digging under the building. It's been an ongoing issue for the past couple of years, and we hope that the barrier that's being constructed now will prevent primarily possums from making it under dispatch. The Vesta phone system upgrade has progressed and will be, I believe, talked about a little bit later in this meeting in some more detail. Actually, the Vesta phone system upgrade has progressed significantly. Bay Wireless has started to remove the old Vesta hardware in the server room, and that's going to free up an entire rack. It's the admin phone systems that we'll be talking about in some more detail a little bit later.
Very good.
Yeah.
Nothing to add. In case everybody doesn't know, Nathan isn't here because he's on paternity leave. He has birth of his first child, and so it was very exciting. And he's planning on being back in the next couple of weeks, but all is well there.
Good deal.
Question? Who's doing the testing on the MDT and radios?
The new user interface for the MDTs, we currently have a St. Helens PD officer who's done some road testing to get us some feedback on it. We have some other officers with SCAPUS that are interested in testing as well. The project there is continuing. We're currently testing is right now on the road paused. We are waiting for Central Square to get back to us about some issues. We want to make sure that it's really going to work before we roll it out to more users and do a final round of road testing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nothing else? Move on to old business.
Yes, sir. So gonna jump right on where Merck's left off. The Vesta 911 system is our 911 telephone. platform. That was a forklift replacement. We did that first part of the year. It is complete. We've signed off on it. We've paid, as you may remember, with the cost saving measures that the state of Oregon put in, they assigned some responsibilities, fiscal responsibilities back to the PSAPs. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. So they didn't want to spend the money, so they put some of the costs back on the PSAPs. And one of them is allocation of how many 911 telephone consoles you are allowed in your center. And so we're responsible for our 5th position. They only fund 4. They also took rolled some money back on the UPS service, but that's another thing. We're fine there, but the 911 phone system sign off is complete. Final payments have been made by us and by the state, so we're good to go there. The Meisner construction site, we are almost done. Next week, we will migrate our radio equipment from the old shelter into the new. With that, we're also planning to decommission all of the old structures and equipment up there. Installation of new fencing. Part of this project is we discovered, so there's some challenges with the lease that ODF had in place, and it's an old lease. The most recent version is 2004, and Mr. Peterkin is working with ODF Legal to clean up a new version, modern version, accurate version. And so that's taking place behind the curtain, but we're still moving forward with the construction project. Part of that is the phase 3 microwave upgrades. So as we have over the last 3 years incrementally been replacing microwave links and radios and antennas on this, there's a link that goes from Meisner to Clatskanie. And so we've been waiting for the tower to be complete and the migration to take place. And that will take place also next week. So we'll have that portion of the microwave project complete. Any questions so far? Okay.
Okay, keep going.
All right. Next Gen Radio project, on the 16th of April, the district instructed federal engineering to formally cancel the ITB portion of the project. That's for 2 reasons. All 3 bidders sent us letters of no bid, which is an official response to solicitation. So we accepted those no bid letters. Also, there was notice that there was a violation of the bidding instructions. So that is complete. We're working with legal on next steps. On the afternoon, this is late Friday. Federal notified Columbia 911 that they were in receipt of the final proposal bid from Motorola. The initial reports from Federal is it looks very promising. They are doing their evaluation of it, checking all the boxes, making sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. They expect to have that evaluation done potentially the end of this week. Most likely the first of next week. It's like 370 pages, very technical. So they're doing that work. Mr. Peterkin and I will be meeting with Federal sometime next week to go over their findings. From there, depending on what they're saying, we'll call a special meeting, or most likely call a special meeting of the board, advisory, user boards, and go over where we are in the project. Keep everybody up to date. You guys know that Columbia 911 is part of the PDCC, the Portland Dispatch Center Consortium. PDCC is the comms portion of the UASI region for RDPO. A lot of acronyms there. But yes, sir.
Just for sakes, I think seeing some new names and new faces, do you mind just spelling or explaining the acronyms?
Sure. PDCC is Portland Dispatch Center Consortium. It's made up of 8 to 10 emergency communication centers in Clark County, Multnomah, Clackamas, Washington, and Columbia County. Why those 5 counties is because we belong to a UASI region, which is Urban Security Area. Urban Area Security Initiative. And UASIs were formed by the federal government in wake of the events of 9/11. Federal government recognized that there was some disconnects between agencies, public safety agencies during the 9/11 event. And so they formed these UASI regions around the country. I believe there's somewhere around 30 of them, 28, 29, something like that. Portland has a UASI region. And again, it's made up of Clark County, Washington, Multnomah, Clackamas, Washington County, and Columbia. And the RDPO, Regional Disaster Preparedness Organization, is the clearinghouse for grant funds from the federal government. So you kind of have to follow the bouncing ball. PDCC acts as the clearinghouse for anything communications related in the UASI region. I luckily became chair of PDCC several years ago. And so I try and corral kittens all day long with them. It's a very busy organization because everybody's in competition for grant dollars in those 5 counties. And it often, not always, but a lot of it is comms related, communications related. And so we vet all those requests for grant funds. And part of that is we participate in requesting grant funds. And we have benefited over the last 6 years a great deal. Our CAD system is partially funded by UASI grant funds. Our CAD to CAD product, which ties 10 emergency communication centers together and is growing exponentially, is a byproduct of grant funds from the federal government. When I say that CAD to CAD project, it ties all of our PSAPs together. It ties together Metro West Ambulance, AMR, Port of Portland. We are connecting to OSP and ODOT, being connected to Metcom, which is the 911 center for Central Marion County. It's going to Bedford, Grants Pass. There's Deschutes County, the River County wants on it. And what that gives us is digital communications. Really, it's growing across the state and it's owned and operated by the PDCC. So it is all about interoperable. So I was speaking that how we benefit regionally, yes, we do, specifically to Columbia 911. In previous meetings, I shared with you that PDCC is contracted with a consulting company, Mission Critical Partners, who are working for us to do a study of the primary PSAPs in the region. And they're researching how resilient we are, how redundant we are, how can we operate in emergency situations where we may not be able to live in our facilities. We may have to rotate to other centers to continue our services. So part of that study is still ongoing. We don't expect to see the final reports for another few months, but we've had some preliminary information. And one of the things that are specific to us is our inability to be flexible. We're tied, 911 centers are tied to their facilities because of the technology that we have. And it's very difficult to pick up and move in an hour's notice or less. And one of the things that ties us to our facilities is our 911 phone systems. Proprietary, they're located in centers, but there is new technology coming online every single day. Can't keep up with it. But one of them is Motorola produces what's called an all-in-one package, and their command posts, they connect remotely to your 911 servers. And so you can pick these machines up and relocate yourself as long as you have internet and you can touch the servers. You can take 911 calls just like you could in that room. The old school way is we'd flip a switch, and we do this in conjunction with Oregon Emergency Management. We flip a switch here and we go somewhere else and we can pick up a desk phone and answer. But that's just the voice. You lose all of the data. Where these machines is like sitting on the dispatch floor. You have everything that right there in front of you. So we applied for grant funds to see if we could get some of those command posts, and they awarded us a couple of them. So we're very happy about that. Saved us about $20,000, and that goes forward to help us be more resilient. Immediately, what we'll be doing with the ones is we have the 3 dispatch workstations assembled in the extension room back there. And that is a byproduct of COVID pandemic where we had to separate everything. And so those machines, those workstations are still being outfitted, but one of the key things that we couldn't do is get the 911 phone systems over there. Because they're tied to that room. Well, this will allow us to outfit those workstations. And that'll allow us to give additional capacity for a big event. We can move people into that extension. They can dispatch separate from the main floor. We can do it for training, through training, not just make-believe training. And like I said before, we can pick them up and go somewhere else. So very happy about that.
Are they just like a suitcase thing, or does
They are, well, they're basically ruggedized laptops that are actually designed for the 911 system. You can plug them in like a docking station you have at home. You can put it up on screens. They're robust, made to go traveling. So
You do a little field trip here.
That's
board
great.
meeting now.
that's right. I'm just going through my list here. So I have it on the agenda under old business. Northwest Leadership Seminar participant feedback. And that's really just an opportunity of those who attended to let us know your comments, input, value, so we can plan for next year.
Who ended up going this year?
Oh, no, I was under the influence of narcotics.
Shelley, did you end up going?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's your shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
This is the one in Portland.
I was trying to remember which one was what.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. The first day was really,
Good.
but yeah, I enjoyed conference. I went all the days.
Benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And
Thank you.
Did I hear, unfortunately, this might be Gordon Graham's last appearance for Northwest Leadership.
Yeah, he was putting
He
on.
was a
the-
great
Yeah.
presenter, yes.
Very good.
Will be missed, friends.
Yes,
Off the circuit.
he's a legend. Next on the list is the admin phone system. So I understand that while I was gone, presentation was made to the board for our admin side phone upgrade. And there was a request from the board for Nathan to do research on the lease versus own purchase, direct purchase of this device. And I believe in your packet, did you guys get this? Or was it sent? Okay, good. So this is pretty much breaks it down, same equipment, same vendor. And as you will read in the original, there was competitive bidding. We had 6 vendors who bid on this project. Hughes was recommending to go with Pacific Office Automation folks. And so in this document, he breaks down the lease to own versus straight out purchase. And Works may be able to answer some questions if you have. Mickey is here. talking about the money part. It's the board's pleasure. What would you like us to do?
Harold's on the phone too.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, we're on that.
Yeah.
Jim.
Anything to add?
Not, I think the price breakdown, I think is pretty clear and, I think the important distinction is, I think the board was inquiring whether there was a lease that would be like a managed lease where it would maintain ownership of the equipment, which does not appear to be the case. And instead, being this lease to own option makes the comparison a lot more clear. It's really just a price difference.
And it appears like it's gonna be cheaper to purchase it outright. Cause the other thing, besides the, $6,000 difference in cost, if you subtracted out the contingency, that would be an additional savings.
Right.
So looking at this correctly, bids went out to 6 vendors. We only received 2 back. In the last board meeting, we did receive a recommendation, but due to the fact that these systems have a finite lifetime, rather than buying something new, I know we're going to be throwing it out in a few years and buying something new to replace it. The direction was for staff to look at a lease option to see if we would save any money by returning equipment and upgrading after it. And it appears from what I'm hearing that that is not the case.
Correct. It's at least a.
Yeah. Is there any other questions? Yeah. Comfortable to make a motion?
For the purchase, as per previous bid. Well, I would move that we go ahead and authorize the purchase of the phone system. Total expenditure including contingency of $56,190.22 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion? I would like to thank staff for the extra work to go back to see if we can try to save some money for this. Thanks for the update. And if there's no other comments, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? There.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have any for the local option?
Local option levy, get out the vote. Bring in the voters pamphlet. I've had inquiries, questions, comments, people contacting me, so all's well.
Any other comments? And other, is there any other old business? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business.
New business,
I just want to clarify, if I recall right, we're not going to need to go to executive session.
we can, it's, Mr. Peterkin's here. You have things you want to talk about, you have lots of things going on and legal and otherwise, so it's your pleasure.
Just clarifying there. Anyway, we had mentioned we'd added to the agenda, yesterday received the email, a resignation from Jeremy Hazelcamp in Zone 2. Now, typically, it was up to the board to appoint a member, the public, to fill the position until the next election. There's our board policies. So any discussion from the group on the preference of moving forward?
I assume that we have, or do we have an obligation to put a note out in the paper, or online, or on our website or someplace. Advertising the vacancy, or
In the past, the board has done that. In the past, the board has also directly selected who was available and interested. Mr. Peterkin has done a little research to make sure by statute and policy, so if you'd like to jump in there, Michael.
Good afternoon. Yes, under the statutes and under the board's policy, and that's policy 4, the board appoints the new director or the substitute director. And there's no requirements to put out a notice. It's up to the board to fill the position, and that's consistent with ORS chapter 403 and ORS chapter 198. I've presented a memo to the board on the subject. So the board can actually appoint someone today if the board so chose. Or to follow up Henry's suggestion, you can advertise it. It's entirely up to the discretion of the board, but it's the board that appoints to fill the vacancy.
I'd make a suggestion
Yes.
that we appoint Jeff back to the board. He ran for the board. He's familiar with most of the stuff that we're involved with, if he's so willing.
Comment?
I guess I was gonna add, I couldn't remember if he was running against Hazenkamp. I
He
couldn't
did.
remember it. Yeah, I mean, he's up to snuff.
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
Giving it some thought, I didn't want to speak immediately. My first preference was, knowing in the past, typically what we did is we did put out and ask for letters of interest from the community to fill the position. Very rarely is there opposition for these positions. And there's the fact that in this recent election, there were 2 candidates. I'm leaning towards appointing the candidate who ran for the election yet lost, which is Jeff.
Yeah.
The reason I
want to say his whole name for the record.
Jeff
so
Black.
People that don't know who you're talking about.
And one reason for that also is we have a lot of stuff on the agenda and important things. With both the local option levy, this is budget time, and the radio project. I think it's important to have someone in this position. Is just my feelings on it.
Well, and again, he's familiar with most of the stuff we're dealing with already. So we wouldn't have to be getting somebody up to where we're at.
And again, this would just be an appointment until our next regular election, if I recall correctly.
Correct. So, which would be 3 years. Correct. 3 years and
For that position.
2 months.
Or does it clarify, was it for that position, or is it just the next regular election cycle? So I didn't think it was for the remainder of the term. I was thinking it was just until the next
I
election.
assumed that it was for
This next election, I think.
Yeah.
When I got on, I was appointed for the remainder of that term, and then I had to run.
I think that changed though, didn't
Michael, can you clarify on that? Because I know there's a couple things on it. There was a June 30th, which ironically, because we're coming upon June 30th, that date that's mentioned at ORS would not factor in very well here. But it is an appointment until the next district election, correct? It's not for the remainder of the term. If you recently looked over the ORS and crossed it with our bylaws.
Could I rephrase your question?
Yeah, just if we were to move forward with an appointment today, just to clarify, is the appointment only until the next eligible election is coming up versus filling the remainder of the term? Because right now Jeremy was elected.
It's the remainder of the term. And they would continue just as if they had been elected. So they serve out the term, and then, as Shelley pointed out, they would have to stand for election.
Heard that on my side.
You know, I have nothing against Jeff or in any way. I don't know that he's where he is as far as desire to serve, but it seems like our most of the time that we've had vacancies on the board, we've at least put out the notification so that other members of the community would have the opportunity to throw their hat in the ring if they wanted to. I mean, I don't disagree with you, Rob, about oh, it's always better to have a full board as quickly as we can, but I don't know if it would hurt us to wait a month to you know, just put the thing on our website and put some ads out there and say that the position is open and just see what comes in. You know, in all likelihood, I doubt that we'll have, you know, a whole bunch of interest because we typically don't. I mean, boards throughout the county, this is not a. But anyway, just my thought on it.
And I think I'm fine with that if we make sure it's kind of a speedy process. I mean, I hate to, you know, go out, wait 30 days for the apps and another 30 to go through them. I mean, as long as it's kind of sped up, I'm all for that too. I think that's fine, but I just don't want a long drawn process. Me personally.
And myself, I'm fine with that because anyone who is interested in the position is more than welcome to attend the budget meeting. They're public meetings. And like you said, we would make sure the appointment would be taking place at the next board meeting.
For you, I mean, I think that's fair. I think that allows other people to put in and then gives us a timeline when we need to get it done. And hopefully Jeff puts in for it. I'm assuming he would.
So I think there's kind of a consensus there, and if there's any lack of motion on the table, I believe I still to make sure that they publicize
Put it
and
on the website, we can get ads out. We're too late for next week.
I can get it out May 8th and the 15th for the Chronicle and the Chief. And then I can also do it for 2 weeks. Should be just about 2 weeks for the spotlights too.
Okay.
But it could be on our website.
Yeah,
today.
yes.
Because the main newspapers of record for North County, there is the Chief and
It's combined now. Yeah, Chronicle Chief.
So we can act on it and then have some, hopefully something for you for next board meeting. Okay. Next is something that Danelle alluded to. The district embarked on a training and leadership course. Most of you may be aware that several years ago, we used a agency organizational coach, Stephen Fulmer.
Yeah.
Right there, it's gone. And so we reached out to the Stewart Consulting Group, which is well established. Dr. Hicks, he's a neuropsychologist, and he has a business partner, Donnie, and I'm not even going to begin to pronounce his last name. But they provide these leadership management trainings for organizations all across the US. They specifically focus on high impact organizations, mission critical organizations. And they have done emergency communication centers, hundreds of them across the US. He is based in Bremerton, and so he focuses a lot on Oregon and Washington PSAPs. Department of Defense is big up in the Puget Sound area, so he works with them. Anyway, he started, our mission was we have folks in leadership that are either new to this organization, new to leadership. Danelle is still learning management skills and as the operations manager. Nikki is new to our organization as CFO. Kirby is our new training certification coordinator. And we have 3 new leads. So we're trying to get them all shined up and sparkly as managers and leaders of the organization. And Dr. Hicks is here on a monthly basis. And he's working with these folks. And so far, I will tell you that the feedback from everybody that's attending is very enthusiastic, upbeat, positive, because his presentation style is highly efficient, a lot of humor. He gets us. It's frightening how well he knows what we do. So we're very happy, and we're looking forward to some excellent success with that relationship. And that, sir, it's everything I had on my honey-do list. Any questions?
Hearing none. Is there any other new business?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I think that I want to give a report on mediation status. It'll be short, but because mediation is a confidential process, we would have to go into executive session for a short period of time.
Right, which was on our agenda. So hearing that, we will go into executive session under ORS 192.660 subsection 2H. Consult with legal counsel. That is taking place at 1:52.
Give it a break to maybe.
Or break the regular session here at 1:52.
Okay.
And we'll enter our executive session probably here in about 10 minutes. Give enough time for the lobby to be closed. Members of the public, we're going to close the door and we will let you know when we are back into regular session. And we'll reset, get the, sorry. Oh, no, we're not.
We're not, yeah, we're not in.
Oh, the other thing is, I didn't know, do you guys, did Brady leave? Do we know?
I believe he did.
Okay, I just want to make sure he's not just staying warm in a vehicle.
I think he left. I didn't see him drive off though, so I don't know.
Oh, thank you. So we're gonna go ahead and enter back into regular session here at 2:51. On the agenda, we are left at there's agenda items for the May 23rd meeting. Hearing none. And once again, verifying, is there any other business? Again, hearing none, we'll do member comments and we'll start with Bruce.
This, I don't know if this is Mike and Nikki, but this was great. So
It's a team effort. There you go.
I really appreciate it. It made going through this a lot easier. So thank you.
I'd just like to say thanks to our staff. You guys have been working really hard, lots of moving targets here recently, and all of you. Good to have Mike back. And
Yes, thank you.
just extra special thanks to Danielle to, driving the bus kind of while you were gone, and good work, y'all. Appreciate it.
Kelly.
I just appreciate dispatch has been super busy. I've been listening to them while I'm in my office, and I just appreciate what everybody does to make things happen, and glad to see you back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kudos to all the staff, a lot of hard work, and I do believe last week or the week before was a special week.
Last week.
And you want to mention what was done?
It was, National Telecommunicators, used to be 911, Appreciation Week. And we had lots of visits from our user agencies, vendors, outside regional users. It was a good time. Everybody, it's always an up round. So, yeah, thank you.
I'd also like to thank our public safety partners that stopped by and dropped off some goodies for our dispatchers to let them know that they were appreciated.
Absolutely.
And if there's no other comments, we will go ahead and adjourn at 2:54.